Footage taken on November 19, 2021, over Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada appears to be a conventional clip of an American aircraft during a training or flight test. The clip shows what looks like a variant of a U.S. Air Force F-22 Raptor, but it is not. This one-of-a-kind F-22 Raptor glitters like nothing ever seen before when the sun's rays make contact with it. And as the camera focuses on it, the viewer can clearly see that it is covered in a reflective metallic coating that makes it look quite exotic. Viewers worldwide have baptized it as the Chrome F-22, and there are many theories about the true purpose of the coating. The Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor is an American-made, single-seat, twin-engine stealth tactical fighter developed through the U.S. Air Force's Advanced Tactical Fighter program. It was designed as a superiority fighter and can fulfill numerous roles for electronic warfare, ground attack, and signals intelligence missions. The history behind the F-22 Raptor dates back to the last years of the Cold War era. In 1981, the U.S. Air Force issued a requirement to replace the F-15 Eagle and the F-16 Fighting Falcon. This replacement would be part of the Advanced Tactical Fighter program, codenamed Senior Sky. The aim was to use new technologies to create an aircraft that could be ahead of the Soviet Sukhoi Su-27 Flanker and the Mikoyan MiG-29 Fulcrum. The many technological advances in the F-22 led to several delays and budget problems. Still, the F-22 Raptor flew for the first time on September 7, 1997, and was finally introduced to the U.S. Air Force in December of 2005. There are currently over 195 in operational service. The aircraft is identifiable for its clipped diamond-like delta wings and 4 empennage surfaces. It has a length of 62 feet, a wingspan of 44 feet, and a height of 16 feet, while its maximum takeoff weight is 83,500 pounds, and it has a standard fuel capacity of 18,000 pounds that can be increased with gal tanks for a range of more than 1,600 nautical miles. Its 2 Pratt & Whitney F-119 turbofan engines allow the Raptor to achieve a maximum speed of Mach 2.25, and its service ceiling is 65,000 feet. In addition, the F-22's main gun is a 20mm Vulcan rotary cannon with 500 rounds, and it has 4 underwing pylons that can carry ordnance that weighs up to 5,000 pounds each. Some weapons include air-to-air missiles, such as the AIM-9 Sidewinder or the AIM-120 AMRAAM, and it can also carry air-to-ground ordnance like the GBU-39 small-diameter bombs or the Joint Direct Attack Munition Kit. The Raptor is also equipped with state-of-the-art avionics that enhance its defenses against enemy aircraft and missiles, and also has an AN/AAR-56 missile approach warning system, an AN/ALR-94 radar warning receiver, and an AN/APG-77 multifunction low probability of intercept radar. Today, the F-22 Raptor is regarded as one of the most lethal and highly equipped aircraft of the U.S. Armed Forces. Despite the top-notch avionics of the F-22, the U.S. Air Force has repeatedly announced that it has performed multiple upgrades to the Raptor to make it even more proficient at its stealth role. However, what was captured on November 19, 2021, by acclaimed aviation photographer Santos Caceres left the aviation community in awe and, to a certain degree, puzzled. Santos Caceres took pictures of aircraft departing from Nellis Air Force Base. One of them was an F-22, but it was no common Raptor, at least not the type of variant that's been seen around during the last decade. This one was extremely shiny, glittering with sunlight as it took off from the Nevada Air Base. Caceres' camera lens captured the Raptor stealth fighter covered in a never-before-seen mirror-like reflective coating. The unique metallic coating gave the Raptor an intriguing look that could not simply come from a polished F-22 and had to be something new and unannounced. Based on the pictures taken by Caceres, specialists have noted that the chrome-like coating was carefully applied to the aircraft, and it appears as though it doesn't interfere with the sensors, antennas, or other critical access points. The reflective metallic coating covers most but not all of the outer frames of the F-22. This is evident due to some noticeable panel lines, which are clearly seen on the sawtooth panels placed above and at the sides of the fuselage. The rumors of the chrome F-22 eventually went silent, but it would not be long before it was seen again. The strange F-22 Raptor with chrome or mirror-like coating was spotted again in early December of 2021. This time, it was Rich Triano from the Nellis Spotter YouTube channel who got a chance to film the mysterious aircraft. Triano briefly shot the chrome F-22 during Weapons School Integration, or WSINT, which is the last step of the 6-month U.S. Air Force Weapons Instructor course. During WSINT, pilots are pitched against each other in simulated engagements, including under the Russian, Chinese, or North Korean mindset, even pretending to be the enemy during a real dogfight. The instructors then evaluate how the pilots plan their engagement phases and execute them in a simulated combat environment. In the footage uploaded by Triano, numerous aircraft are seen before the chrome F-22 finally takes to the sky. When the time finally arrives, the viewers can appreciate the chrome F-22 from both sides and even get to appreciate the effects of the mirror coating from different angles and light conditions. Colonel Jack Artaud, the U.S. Air Force Weapons School commander, said last year that, quote, WSINT is not only the capstone event students must pass to complete the U.S. Air Force Weapons School Weapons Instructor course, but it is perhaps the most multifaceted. WSINT generates capable leaders who can not only plan, integrate, and dominate in any tactical setting, but can also lead any spectrum of teams who are ready to deliver strategic transformational change. Thus, it can be inferred that the F-22 with the experimental coding will undoubtedly play an essential role in the near future. Despite the hype and mystery surrounding the chrome F-22, this is not the first time U.S. aircraft have been spotted with a similar metallic coating. In 2020, the War Zone reported that Scaled Composites Model 401, also known as the Son of Ares, was seen with a brilliant metallic coating flying above the Mojave Desert. Similarly, a chrome F-117 stealth fighter was also seen by spectators near other U.S. air bases in 2019. Several leaks indicated that it was used for reflecting laser energy. It appears as though there's specific research taking place behind infrared search and track systems, or IRSTs. If that is the case, it would be plausible, as the Air Force currently has its own self-protect high-energy laser demonstrator under development. Tyler Rogaway from the War Zone said, quote, having coatings and surface treatments that can reflect laser energy, thus decreasing the range and increasing the dwell time needed for a laser system to be able to damage an aircraft, is a worthy, if not outright necessary, endeavor. The potential benefits for manned and unmanned aircraft that may confront directed energy threats in the future are clear, but this will be even more important for cruise missiles and lower-flying drones that could face such a capability much sooner. It looks like the Air Force and the Pentagon may be trying to study the feasibility of reflective surface materials against hostile laser energy targeting systems, and these advanced IRST systems are currently being tested in other aircraft, such as the F-15C. It is believed that the coating may increase the reduction of an aircraft's infrared signature. Nevertheless, it's a matter of time before the Air Force and the Pentagon officially announce the technology, if it proves effective against current laser weapon systems. A modern and innovative fighter jet, featuring the most advanced technology available in the 21st century, was designed, built, and flown in the span of a year by the U.S. Air Force. This sixth-generation fighter jet is expected to become the centerpiece of the next-generation air dominance program. The technological growth of the last decades has undeniably transformed the aviation industry in the entire world, and as the Air Force's biennial 2019-2020 report for acquisition states, quote, a highly advanced dynamic threat demands a different way of doing things. In the fall of 2020, the U.S. Air Force revealed its sixth-generation fighter jet as part of its next-generation air dominance program. The aviation world was surprised by the announcement, but even more to learn that the aircraft had already been designed, built, and tested within a single year. The Air Force's biennial report indicated that, quote, by executing shorter technology development cycles, the program matures technology and reduces risk through prototyping and operational experimentation. This delivers enhancements in survivability, lethality, and persistence for a highly contested environment. Next Generation Air Dominance, or NGAD, is an advanced aircraft program that allows air superiority in challenging environments, supported by digital engineering, nimble software development, and open architectures. This digital engineering employs virtual modeling and simulation tools to dramatically shorten the time of development, and it is for, quote, development of penetrating counter-air platforms with multi-domain awareness, agile, resilient communications, and an integrated family of capabilities. Meanwhile, non-traditional acquisition approaches are used, quote, to avoid traditional monolithic program schedules and exorbitant lifecycle sustainment costs. This strategy, called the Digital Century Series approach, creates a realistic business case for industry to adopt commercial best practices for key design activities before a part is even manufactured. For instance, the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program had a reputation as being one of such monolithic programs, suffering from repeated setbacks and budget-busting issues, a perfect example of inadequate acquisition practices. It was disclosed in September of 2020 that a prototype had already been built and flown, but the report only provided vague and sparse details. The fighter is supposed to be among the first sixth-generation American fighters, if not the first, but given the mystery surrounding the announcements, most journalists assumed that the prototype was not yet a completed aircraft design. Instead, the fighter appeared to be a technology demonstrator, testing different systems for the next generation. Moreover, it is likely that the Air Force doesn't yet have a definitive aesthetic for the fighter, although the artist's renderings do provide intriguing visual cues. A graphic depicting an unknown triangular fighter jet was also released for the U.S. Air Force's 73rd anniversary, which coincided with the NGAD announcement, and the design didn't resemble any of the current operational fighters. Although firms like Lockheed Martin had already published concept art for sixth-generation fighters, it is possible that both the timing of the announcement and the artwork were intentional, and that these previous designs may have influenced the piece. Poised to replace the advanced but increasingly rare F-22 Raptor and the highly capable fourth-generation F-15, this new jet will be a multi-role fighter. But beyond admitting its existence and the fact that it features F-1-style engineering, not much more information was released, except for the intriguing concept art. The image depicts a diamond-shaped fighter jet with extensive engine air intakes over its wings, trailing to the sides of the cockpit, which would shield them from radar from below. In addition, the image also features 2 engines and a bubble canopy. The vertical retractable stabilizers, which fold flat into the wings, increase stealth while in the down position. Keeping such a feature must have specific benefits, like enhanced maneuverability and fuel efficiency. The artwork also suggests the adoption of a wedge-shaped tailless aircraft. Older models, like the F-22 and F-35, feature fairly traditional tail sections, though they maintain stealthy contours. Nevertheless, the precedent for a tailless aircraft is tangible. As for the armament, it can be inferred that the aircraft will be able to carry 3 air-to-air missiles internally, a must for neutralizing radar return and keeping stealth. Also, the diagram shows 3 jet engines and the caption "Digital Experimentation," which coincides with the latest Air Force tendency to leverage more digital testing than ever before. It is also hinted that the aircraft may be refitted with weapon and propulsion upgrades, absorbing rather complicated upgrades rapidly, probably due to the advantage of simulation technologies. Whereas modern combat aircraft usually receive new weapons, refitting an existing aircraft with upgraded engines is complex. Below the main aircraft image, a second graphic appears to show the technology's progression, but it may also suggest that not only one isolated model would be produced, but rather an entire family of innovative systems. Judging by its appearance, the aircraft looks like it was built for speed and stealth, and inside its blended body and wing configuration, an ample weapons bay could store fuel as well as weapons. The Air Force reportedly requires a fighter with a specific range to escort bombers into deep penetration missions, demanding a considerable internal fuel supply. U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff General Charles Q. Brown, Jr. testified on the fiscal 2022 budget request for the program and explained that although the aircraft's primary role will be air dominance, it will also have, quote, some air-to-ground capability to ensure, 1, that it can survive, but also to provide options for our air component commanders and for the Joint Force. An increased range and weapons load compared to the F-22 is also foreseen, which would allow it to operate in the Indo-Pacific region and reach significant distances. General Mark D. Kelly, head of Air Combat Command, explained that there may be 2 variants of NGAD. The first would have an extended range and payload needed for the Indo-Pacific, while the second would be oriented to shorter range missions in possible battle areas in Europe. The fighter, however powerful, would not be operating alone. Described as a family of systems, the NGAD would feature the fighter jet as its center, but the graphics hint that the aircraft would connect to satellite and airborne communication nodes, allowing the pilot to join nearby friendly forces via a stream of data. Air Force airborne warning aircraft or Navy destroyers could also help paint a picture of a battlefield, while the fighter wouldn't need to turn on its own radar or sensors. This collaboration is what the Air Force describes as multi-domain awareness. General Brown also explained that the U.S. Air Force plans include reducing its fighter fleet, keeping only 4 types: the F-35, F-15EX, F-16, and the NGAD. The new fighter would fly alongside the F-35, with the latter as, quote, the cornerstone, F-15EX as we come in, and then we'll have F-16 for a while as well. The Department of Defense's published budget request stipulates that the funding for the new NGAD is $1.5 billion, approximately $623 million more than previous economic aid. This budget request is dated 2022. Ultimately, the U.S. Air Force's prototype already seems to be a glimpse into the future, or as Will Roper, a top acquisition official, put it, quote, "We've already built and flown a full-scale flight demonstrator in the real world, and we broke records in doing it. We are ready to go and build the next-generation aircraft in a way that has never happened before." In 2021, the United States Air Force Chief of Staff announced the launch of a thorough study into the tactical aviation requirements of future service aircraft. The idea is that the service's top officer wants to develop an affordable, lightweight fighter to either partially or totally replace hundreds of Cold War-era F-16s, complementing the Air Force's small fleet of secret and costly stealth fighters. A month later, a group of aviation experts came up with a fictitious yet viable option: the F-36 Kingsnake lightweight fighter. Using the best technologies from other aircraft, as well as 3D printing, this novelty model could be the answer to the Air Force's budgeting problem. That is, if it even makes it to production. In early 2021, the United States Air Force began to look for an alternative jet design to replace the iconic General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon. The multi-role fighter aircraft, first introduced in August 1978, is currently the backbone of the tactical fleet. Speaking to the Defense Writers Group on February 18, 2021, United States Air Force Chief of Staff General Charles Q. Brown, Jr. announced that the service is launching a months-long study on the USAF's future mix of tactical aircraft. Joined by the Department of Defense's Cost Assessment and Program Evaluation, this Tactical Aircraft Study, or TAC-AIR, will help the service assess the optimum balance for its tactical fighter force, including fifth-generation fighters, but also a low-cost aircraft for low-end fights. The study may even result in a completely new aircraft explicitly built to fill that void. According to General Brown, quote, "I want to entertain a clean sheet design of something that's not necessarily 4th gen, but may not necessarily be complete 5th gen either. You've also got to take a look. There's some other low-end type things that aren't the high-end fight, and we need to have the right force mix. This is why I want to do a TAC-AIR study. So at lower end, 4.5 or 5th gen minus, what capability do I need? Then how many of them do I need?" According to General Brown, while the new model would share some capabilities with the F-16, it is expected to be faster, perhaps with supercruise capabilities and more digitally inclined. Brown also explained that the aircraft would be built based on the lessons learned in digital engineering from other programs and studies. In his closing statement, General Brown also stressed that the study would be based solely on facts, not opinions, to ensure the service gets the correct answers for the Air Force's future. The new clean-sheet aircraft design could potentially threaten the Air Force's long-held plans to buy 1,763 models of the existing Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II. A single-engine, all-weather, multi-role combat aircraft with stealth capabilities, the F-35 is built to perform air superiority and strike missions, while also providing electronic warfare and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance features. While its development was mainly funded by the United States, several NATO partner countries, such as the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, the Netherlands, and others, also contributed with funds. In the United States, the type entered service with the Marine Corps in July of 2015, followed by the Air Force in August of 2016 and the Navy in February of 2019. It is projected to operate until 2070. Originally intended as the F-16's successor, the Lightning II program has drawn public criticism for its size, complexity, delayed deliveries, and ever-rising costs. The aircraft's acquisition, while it was still in its development and testing phases, led to expensive design changes and retrofits, and numerous technical flaws are still being corrected today. In its 2021 annual report, The Pentagon's Operational Test and Evaluation Director stated that the F-35 program continued to field immature, deficient, and insufficiently tested features throughout the year. While the initial program began in 2001, cost overruns had pushed the F-35's total lifetime cost to a whopping $1.5 trillion by 2017, including operations and maintenance. With a hefty price tag and inferior to its predecessor in more ways than one, the F-35's future in the American Armed Forces may be hanging by a thread, and the type can hardly replace the entire F-16 in the short term. Instead, Air Force experts want to begin mass production of an aircraft that is cheaper, quick to design, and that relies on simpler construction techniques. A month after General Brown's announcement, alternative aviation magazine Hush Kit gathered a group of experts to create a fantasy jet with real potential to become a partial or total replacement for the F-16 Fighting Falcon. The result was the F-36 Kingsnake. In a lengthy publication, aviation authorities Stephen McParlin and James Smith, part of the development teams of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter and Eurofighter Typhoon, were joined by illustrator Andy Godfrey to create the detailed concept art and description of an ideal aircraft that fulfilled the TAC Air study requirements. A lightweight fighter, the Kingsnake is named after a type of North American snake that has a habit of eating other snakes. The thorough breakdown suggests a simple fuselage and cranked aero delta wing based on the F-16 XL, a Fighting Falcon derivative, and the entry for the USAF's Enhanced Tactical Fighter competition, which lost to the F-15E Strike Eagle. The publication also suggests that the Kingsnake will be developed using existing technologies, components, and even 3D printing to accelerate the manufacturing process without the need to completely redesign the engine. One such idea is to use the F-119 turbofan engine of the F-22 Raptor to reach Mach 2. The aircraft could also potentially use the same active electronically scanned array radar used by the latest version of the Fighting Falcon. Like the aircraft before it, the F-36 will be a multi-role fighter that can perform air-to-air, air-to-ground, and air-to-surface missions, and will be equipped with a sizable internal weapons bay. As a fighter that does not solely focus on having stealth abilities, the F-36 will also have hardpoints to carry an extra load under the wings. In addition, to top the weaponry aboard the Kingsnake, the F-36 might be installed with an M61 Vulcan mounted in the starboard wing root to carry out airstrikes on enemy ground targets. In accordance with the financial capacity and the continuous ability to be upgraded with new technologies in the future, the philosophy of the potential F-36 program is rapid development. As of mid-2022, there is no clear timeline for any prototype or demonstrator for the TAC Air study. Still, as aviation history suggests, a finished model similar to the F-36 Kingsnake design could potentially come out in only a handful of years. In 2020, the Air Force admitted to having designed and built a secret 6th-generation fighter jet in just 1 year, a staggeringly short amount of time by modern standards, and a stark contrast to the slow F-35 development. Under the service's Next Generation Air Dominance, or NGAD program, the Air Force aimed to build a jet to supplement or even replace the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor stealth tactical fighter. According to the Air Force, the secret and highly classified fighter has already flown and broken records. While some sources report that some of the NGAD program's features will reportedly be present in the TAC Air program, General Brown claims that the current focus of the study is modeling, simulation, and analysis. The U.S. Air Force top brass expects to begin making formal decisions about the program and internal decisions for the force mix recommendations by their fiscal year 2023 budget request. The T-7A Red Hawk is the new pilot training system for the next generation of U.S. Air Force fighter and bomber pilots. Owing to the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen, the production aircraft sports the iconic red tail of the first African-American fighter squadron of World War II. Its name is derived from the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk, one of the aircraft used by the 99th Fighter Squadron of the Army Air Forces. Designed in the blink of an eye due to an efficient digital thread, the T-7A embodies the top Digital Century series strategy. seldom has the integration of new concepts and capabilities been faster or more affordable, all thanks to virtual testing. Soon, the Red Hawk will replace its predecessor. In the words of Program Manager Colonel Kurt Cassell, quote, "The T-38 is a true workhorse, training Air Force fighter and bomber pilots for Air Education and Training Command, but the T-7A Red Hawk is a game changer." As early as 2003, the U.S. Air Force's Air Education and Training Command detailed the requirements to replace the aging Northrop T-38 Talon. Initially, the replacement trainer was to enter service sometime around 2020, but an unfortunate accident in 2008 caused by fatigue failure compelled the Air Service to advance the target date of initial operational capability, or IOC, by 3 years. Still, a contract award was not expected before the fiscal year 2016, delaying IOC until 2020. Moreover, shrinking budgets on higher priority projects eventually pushed the TX program delivery to the fiscal year 2023 or even 2024. Still, the trainer has remained a top priority within the service. In tandem with the Swedish aerospace company Saab, Boeing submitted a single-engine advanced jet trainer to the competition. The aircraft featured a twin-tail, tandem seating, retractable tricycle landing gear, and a General Electric F404 afterburning turbofan engine. The Boeing TX was not revealed to the public until September of 2016, and 3 months later, the first TX made its maiden flight. By September of 2018, Boeing's design became the official replacement of the T-38 Talon, and the Air Force announced it would acquire 351 aircraft, 46 simulators, maintenance training, and support, all for $9.2 billion. Along with the simulators and associated ground equipment, the aircraft promises to be a suitable replacement for the Air Education and Training Command's aging fleet. In May of 2019, the Swedish company announced it would open a manufacturing facility in Indiana and partner with Purdue University to construct the aircraft. By September, the Air Force officially named the model T-7A Red Hawk in tribute to the Tuskegee Airmen and painted the tails red. The first production T-7 was finally rolled out on April 28, 2022, and will not take long to be delivered to the Air Force. Design. Series production began in February of 2021, and within 2 months, Saab Group delivered the first aft section of the T-7A to the Boeing plant in St. Louis. Boeing then spliced the Swedish-made aft section with the front one, the fins, wings, and tail assembly, and completed the aircraft for use in the Engineering and Manufacturing Development Flight Test Program. Saab's brand new facility will also serve as the manufacturing hub for the aircraft's subsystems, namely the hydraulics, fuel systems, and secondary power. But perhaps most importantly, the Swedish company developed new software for the model to provide a significantly cheaper and faster development. The digital engineering techniques used in the program, specifically model-based systems engineering and 3D tools, allowed the project to move from a computer screen to a maiden flight in barely 36 months. With such an advanced and digitized production line, the T-7A takes only half an hour to splice the aft section with the wings. In addition, the technicians can employ minimal tooling and drilling during the assembly because of the digital build process. What's more, the design allows the addition of future missions, like light attack or fighter roles. As Boeing stated, quote, "The T-7A Red Hawk was purpose-built to include provisions for growth, improve supportability, and innovate a maintenance-friendly design." Besides digital engineering, agile software development and its open architecture mission system will ensure more rapid and affordable aircraft development in the near future. Moreover, the company promises, quote, "These modern, computer-driven manufacturing techniques serve as an enabler for the U.S. Air Force's Digital Century Series strategy, while additionally increasing the supply-based choices." Indeed, compared to traditional development programs, the T-7A had a 75% improvement in first-time engineering quality, an 80% reduction in assembly hours, and a 50% reduction in software development and verification time. The aircraft will now endure several ground checks and taxi tests before the flight test phase in 2022, when it will fly to Edwards Air Force Base in California. The T-7A was able to transition from a concept to a complete product in a few years because it broke the norm. Due to its modular design, the aircraft was explicitly developed for maintainers. Key features include a high wing, easy access doors, and quick-release panels, with the affordable and reliable T-7A significantly improving repair times. Furthermore, the new trainer includes highly immersive training and offloading skills, as well as advanced fighter-like performance features similar to those of 4th and 5th generation fighters. Training supplements to prepare students include ground-based training systems, or GBTS, which cover the full range of physical devices and instructional techniques. The aircraft itself is flexible, modifiable, and adaptable to both people and software, so future systems can be easily implemented. Pilots, too, can adjust to their personal preferences, and the entire system can be applied to other missions. Overall, the trainer prepares better pilots in less time by adapting to changing technologies and learning methods, not to mention downloading more expensive training. The Red Hawk requires provisions for growth to keep up with evolving missions in roles such as aggressor, light attack, or fighter, while modern equipment provides advanced mission systems, including a glass touchscreen cockpit, stadium seating, and embedded training capability. In addition, its digital approach and immersive techniques validated supportability issues, innovating a maintenance-friendly design that increased availability and lowered costs. Likewise, subsystem commonality with 4th and 5th generation fighters allows the use of existing infrastructure, further reducing lifecycle costs. Boeing aims to sell roughly 3,000 Red Hawks in the international market, and beyond the US Air Force, it is targeting Australia and Serbia as potential customers. Meanwhile, the Royal Australian Air Force is searching for a replacement for its 33 BAE Hawk Mark 127 lead-in fighter trainers initially ordered in 1997. And Serbia is also considering the Red Hawk as a suitable option to modernize its trainer aircraft. While the country wishes to replace its G4s and J-22s, its military neutrality policy with NATO will allow it to further look into US-made advanced weaponry, as well as its allies. Interestingly, Boeing also plans to offer an armed variant of the Red Hawk, intended to replace the declining Northrop F-5 and Dassault Dornier Alpha Jet fleets. The first of 351 aircraft to be delivered to the US Air Force rolled off the production line at the Boeing Defense, Space, and Security Building at Lambert International Airport on April 28, 2022. The meaning was not lost on anyone, and Lieutenant General Richard Clark summed it up by saying, quote, "With this rollout, we honor our storied history and the heroes who wrote the chapters, and we usher in an exciting new era of aviation and a new generation of heroes who will write the next chapters."